In the early 2000s, countries all over the world were swept up in a brutal global war, causing governments across the planet to collapse one after another. However, from that collapse emerged powerful clans, gradually taking control of the world's ruling order. It is known that there are 8 major clans spread across the globe working together to rebuild the planet and restore everything to the way it once was. Among these 8 clans, one holds the greatest power in North America. This clan is called Taken, headquartered in Taken City. To accelerate recovery after the crisis, the leader of the Taken clan sponsored a free-for-all fighting tournament, held in the year 2010. Here, fighters from the major clans would battle, until only one victor remained. That person would gain fame and lifelong wealth. And from here, the story of Taken begins. Our city is then portrayed through the image of a young man named Jin, who is being chased by an armed group. It turns out Jin is a smuggler, working for a resistance group opposing Taken. Not only is he being hunted by gunmen, Jin is also pursued by an elite Taken soldier, whose mission is to maintain security in the city. After fleeing everywhere, Jin finally escapes and reaches the resistance base, run by a man named Gondrum. Jin then hands over the stolen item, which is an unlimited internet device he had just taken from Taken. After receiving his payment from Gondrum, Jin heads to a nightclub, where he sees loud announcements stating that the tournament will begin in just a few days. It turns out, this tournament has been held 4 times in a row over the past 4 years. Jin then pays off 1 month's debt to the club owner. Next, he visits a rare goods dealer to buy coffee and chocolate, items that Jin plans to bring home to his beloved mother. After obtaining these luxury goods, Jin returns home and is welcomed by his mother. Besides being a mother, Jun is also Jin's martial arts instructor. Jin has been trained by Jun since childhood, using a rare martial art technique. However, until now, Jin still knows nothing about his mother's origins, nor about his father, who is believed to have died before Jin was born. Meanwhile, in Taken, Hayaki begins preparing the arena for the tournament, alongside his arrogant son, Kazuya. There, Hayaki orders Kazuya to take over security and hunt down the thieves who have been stealing Taken's assets. In recent times, the story then returns to Jin, who is wandering the streets at night. There, he unexpectedly runs into his girlfriend, Kara. Since they haven't seen each other for 3 months, they decide to stop by a bar together. At the same time, Gondrum is typing away while working on the internet device when he is suddenly raided by Kazuya and Jack. Kazuya then sends Jack to find the thief Jin at his home. However, during the search, Jack finds only Jin's mother. When Jin learns of the raid, he immediately rushes home to save his mother, but instead of ordering Jack to arrest Jun, Kazuya orders his soldiers to destroy Jun's house. As a result, Jun is killed on the spot. When Jin returns, he is immediately left in shock. From this moment on, Jin harbors deep hatred toward Hayaki, whom he believes is the mastermind behind everything that happened. After the explosion subsides, Jin searches through the ruins of the house and accidentally finds his mother's Taken ID card. This leaves Jin completely stunned, because it turns out his mother was actually a Taken fighter. To uncover the whole truth, Jin decides to register for the tournament. Despite that, although Kara desperately begs Jin not to join the tournament, Jin remains determined and sets out for the qualification round. Upon arriving at the selection venue, Jin discovers that the person in charge of recruitment is a retired former fighter named Steve. Without hesitation, Jin immediately signs up with Steve. Jin is then escorted into the arena, where he must face the reigning champion, Marcelo, from Real Madrid. Because this qualification round is broadcast throughout the entire city, Jin quickly becomes a hot topic among his friends. Even though Jin has never fought in any official match before, as his close friends, they all unite to cheer him on. Jin and Lo begin their fight, each showcasing their own unique skills. During the battle, Lo knocks Jin to the ground. At that very moment, Jin recalls his mother's teachings that after eating, one should never forget to smoke. Immediately, Jin springs back up and unleashes a flurry of strikes at Lo until Jin emerges as the victor. Witnessing Jin's extraordinary strength, Hayaki is deeply impressed and ultimately grants Jin a pass into the official tournament. After the match ends, Steve offers to become Jin's promoter, since every fighter is required to have one. Jin agrees and is taken to Taken. Meanwhile, Hayaki meets with Kazuya after learning that Kazuya has killed the thief's relative, who was Jun. Hayaki is furious because Kazuya was not allowed to kill civilians, even if they were guilty. Killing during this time of crisis is not the right solution. Upon arriving in Taken, Jin is taken to the camp where elite fighters gather, including Raven, from the Master Raven faction. After officially becoming a fighter, Jin approaches the most beautiful female fighter, Christy Montero, who turns out to possess a movement technique very similar to the moves Jin's mother once used. The next day, the official tournament begins with the first round. On Taken's side, the fighters are introduced to a massive audience crowd. After all the fighters are introduced, the first round officially begins. In this round, Raven is matched against fighter Ollie. After the first match ends with Raven's victory, it is Jin's turn to face Mizu. In that match, Jin appears overwhelmed and is brutally beaten by Mizu. However, after thinking of his mother, Jin suddenly grows stronger and ultimately defeats Mizu. After the victory, Jin and Steve are greeted by Kazuya, who has been watching Jin's match from the beginning. There, Kazuya remarks that Jin's fighting style feels strangely familiar to him. The following day, while Jin is training, Christy approaches him and unexpectedly invites him out. Because Christy's face resembles Mia's, Jin accepts the invitation. The two go together to a nightclub, and it is there that their romantic relationship begins to blossom. Meanwhile, driven by curiosity about Jin, Kazuya begins investigating his background. As he digs deeper, he discovers that Jin is the son of Jun Kazama, a name that seems all too familiar to Kazuya. After the party, Christy escorts Jin back to the camp. But the moment Christy leaves, Jin is suddenly attacked by two female ninjas. Hearing the sound of objects breaking in Jin's room, Christy immediately kicks the door open, causing the ninjas to retreat quickly. Jin, badly injured, is brought before Steve. There, Steve believes that a force within Taken does not want Jin to remain here, fearing for Jin's safety in the future. Steve advises him to leave. However, Jin firmly refuses, as he still has unfinished business. Jin then presents his mother's ID card, leaving Steve completely stunned when he realizes that Jin's mother was once his teammate in the first tournament. Meanwhile, the two female ninjas turn out to be Anna and Nina, who report back to Kazuya, informing him that their mission has failed. From this point on, the truth becomes clear. The one who wants Jin dead is none other than Kazuya himself. The reason is that Kazuya harbors ambitions of inheriting Taken. Therefore, he is willing to do anything to secure that position at all costs. So why is Kazuya so determined to kill Jin? Is there a hidden connection between them? Stay until the end to find out. The story returns to the second day of competition. In this round, Christy is matched against Anna. Upon closer observation, Christy realizes that Anna was the one who attacked Jin the night before. Knowing this, Christy immediately strikes back, showing Anna no mercy in the arena and ultimately secures victory. In the next round, Jin must face a master swordsman. Seeing how brutal his opponent is, Steve hands Jin his own protective gloves. At the same time, Haiki enters the room, shocked to discover that Jin was never meant to be matched against Mizu. The truth is finally revealed. The one who arranged this deadly matchup was Kazuya, who wants Jin dead. Haiki tries to stop the fight, but Kazuya immediately blocks him, revealing that all Jack units now stand under his command. Since Mizu fights with a sword, Jin is given a bladed staff as a weapon for self-defense. At that moment, Kazuya coldly remarks that he will attend Jin Kazama's funeral right in front of Haiki. Upon hearing the name Kazama, Haiki suddenly realizes that Jin is actually his own grandson. Haiki immediately triggers the alarm, ordering all fighters to be protected. At that very moment, Jin recalls his mother's words that the weakness of masked warriors lies in their masks themselves. Immediately, Jin delivers his strongest punch to Mizu's mask, which allows him to defeat his opponent. Severely injured, Jin is rushed away by Steve and Christy for treatment. However, along the way, they are surrounded by Jack forces and detained along with the other fighters. Shortly after, Kazuya appears and declares that Taken now belongs to him. Not only that, Kazuya also announces new rules. All remaining matches will be death matches, meaning the loser will be executed. After Kazuya leaves, Raven is the first to fiercely oppose the new rule. From there, Jin's group begins a revolt, overpowering the guards and seizing their V90 rifles. All four decide to find a way to escape. During their escape, they encounter Haiki, who is also imprisoned. Realizing that Haiki is the only one who can get them out, they rescue him. However, during the escape, Raven is shot and captured again, while the others successfully escape the Taken complex. Afterward, Haiki takes Jin and Steve to an abandoned building. There, Hayaki speaks privately with Jin and reveals the truth. Jin is his grandson. Hayaki insists that he did not kill Jun. On the contrary, it was Hayaki who once saved Jun when Kazuya brutally attacked her. It turns out that Kazuya is Jin's biological father. That is why Kazuya has always wanted Jin dead, to ensure that no inheritance rights remain other than his own. At that moment, their hideout is suddenly attacked by Jack forces. During the raid, Steve is shot, while Christie is captured. Kazuya then confronts Hayaki, declaring that he will not kill Jin here, but will finish him in the tournament. After saying this, Kazuya secretly orders Jack to assassinate Hayaki. Meanwhile, Jin and Christie are escorted back. Back in Taken, the story quickly moves on. The semifinals officially begin. This time, the match is between Brian and Sergei. Due to the new rules, both fighters are forced to use weapons. In the brutal battle, Brian defeats Sergei. At the same time, Kazuya summons Jin and forces him to face Brian. Kazuya is convinced that Jin cannot defeat Brian, as he clearly sees Jin is badly injured. Before entering the arena, Jin receives encouragement from Raven, words identical to what Jun once said: "Win this match, then invest the prize wisely." Without hesitation, Jin enters the arena amid deafening cheers from the crowd, who wholeheartedly support him. With rage surging within him, Jin begins his decisive duel with Brian right on the battlefield. When Jin is nearly unable to fight back, he recalls images of his mother and his friends. Summoning his strength, Jin launches a fierce counterattack, returning every blow Brian throws at him. Not only that, Jin risks everything by leaping from above, intent on delivering the final blow. Seeing that Jin is still alive, Kazuya is filled with rage. Grabbing two axes, he recklessly jumps into the arena to confront Jin himself, just as Kazuya is about to kill Jin. Christie suddenly fights back, firing shots that shatter the glass barrier. In that brief moment, Jin seizes the chance to counterattack and defeats Kazuya. However, even though Kazuya caused his mother's death, Jin refuses to kill him, choosing instead to let Kazuya live in disgrace. Jin is crowned the champion and earns the ultimate reward. Despite Christie being a beautiful woman, Jin ultimately refuses to stay with her and decides to return to his homeland, together with his closest friends. And that is where the film comes to an end.